Yeah, so you have some reading to do. We did watch some of the videos in class on Tuesday. Since you guys weren't here on Tuesday, make sure you watch those just to give you a sense. I'm going to today walk through how I would approach this project in Photoshop, okay, and or Illustrator. You can do this physically or digitally. It's up to you. Okay, if you are reasonably comfortable with Photoshop or Illustrator or something similar, then by all means, do it in those. That's not plugged in to the floor. The outlet's right underneath you. Yeah. The tines have been broken off that plug because they moved it.
I was gonna hope they were fixed, but
Yeah, we ask and ask and ask, and you might have to slide. There you go. Okay. I think they're active still. Really? Because that was plugged into it, and then there are classes that move the tables,
so it breaks off.
and so yeah, they don't unplug it and it breaks it off, and it's a pain. When we were remodeling the rooms, I asked for the outlets that come down from the ceiling, because you can't roll over those, and it would make a lot more. If we had extension cord or power strips.
We had those in my high school.
Yeah, they make them for science.
All the time because you forget they were there.
Right. Well, you can do the ones that are on the spools. So you just pull it down and then let go of it and it rolls back up. Those are the ones we were going to get, and we were going to do 9 or 6 of them, so that you can just pull it down and then it'll lock, and you set it on the table and plug in, and when you're done, you just it's like that, right? Just pull it down and let go, and it goes back up. But apparently it was difficult. It was going to be really difficult to run power through the ceiling, except they did it for the projector, so I don't know why it's that difficult. And the lights are there. Anyway.
I want to.
Yeah, there were a lot of other things going on at the time, too. Anyway, off topic. So I'm going to do this digitally, but you can do this physically or digitally. Okay, that's up to you. The method I'm going to show you is just as easy to replicate physically as it is to do it digitally. It's maybe a little easier digitally. I'm trying to remember if I have a site. I have any site pictures I can use. But anyway, so these are going to be due. When did I say? Critique is due in a week and a half, maybe? I think it was 2 weeks from Tuesday. The 8th, so right after, that's during midterm week. Okay. This is essentially your midterm. We don't really do a midterm in this class, just big projects. So these are three designs, and these designs need to be fleshed out. They need to be in color. They need to be well done. So we're going to do a couple rounds of just sort of preliminary sketches and idea discussions with me. I don't think I have it. No, I didn't. But I'm going to make something that's similar to what we did for the thumbnail sketch review for the furniture, and then the outlines for the storyboards. I'm going to I'll make it right now. I just want a check-in. Everybody can submit it, and then we can discuss it in class. That's been working out pretty well for most of my other classes too. So we'll do that. That'll be probably due next week. I'd say next Thursday. Well, I'll do it next Tuesday and Thursday. That way, I see what you guys are working on. It gives you a deadline for just that period. So what else? Yeah, so I don't know. Are there any questions at this point? No? Okay. So you're going to need to pick a site, right? And you're going to want to play off of the... Well, it's good to be able to play off of the site itself. You don't have to, right? A lot of times you can just illustrate on the site. If you think back to Renaissance murals, which we're all hopefully fairly familiar with, these are just commissioned, and they're illustrative. They tell a story. They're built in. They tell a story that is contextual for the site, right? But it's a story. You can easily do something like this. You can do something that's illustrative like this. I can't remember if I made a Pinterest board for this or not. Let's find out. And wireless. Just feels slow. Do I have murals? I do not. Huh, that's weird that I didn't make one for murals. Anyway, well, let's, it's Pinterest, so let's murals. I really like Pinterest. These are all designs. This is not a true mural, but you could do something similar to this. This is a collage. But this gives you an idea of kind of what I'm going to show you today. Okay. That's pretty. Like, these are pretty basic murals. Those are fun. Something like that is fun. Like, these are all interior. These are murals, but they're more for interior decorating. External murals, things like this. A lot of times businesses will hire people to make murals. A former student of mine, Maggie Weber, I don't know if she has, it's 1B. Oh, okay, so she does have some on here. She used to be a student of mine a long time ago. Now she's an art teacher. This is her. She does murals all over town with people for different things. So she did Paige Turner's mural on the back. So you can see her sketching out. I'm sure they had lots of discussions about what they were going to do. She uses a projector. So you can kind of see her process. Professor Koch does a lot of murals. There's a PDF that's part of the reading. Yikes. Okay, Maggie.
Very vertical.
Yeah, she did not pay attention to my web design class, apparently. These images are too big, that's why they're loading slowly like this. But you can see the initial sketches. So this sort of thing is what I'm looking for this assignment. All right. This idea, now I'm going to have you guys superimpose it off of either a sketch or a tracing of the site with all, taking into account all these little features like the boxes and the doors, utility boxes and stuff. But, and she is doing that here. But your designs will be finished drawings and finished sketches similar to this. Okay. Yikes! Come on. What's she doing? City Sprout. Oh, she did the City Sprouts barn. So sketches, playing around with different ideas of stuff. What she's doing. Huh. Hadn't seen some of these. A lot of times she's working with students. Yeah. So hopefully this gives you kind of an idea. She's done a bunch around town. Bethany. I don't do murals myself. Actually, Bethany probably has some murals on her site. Mural Guide Project. Art. Murals. So here's some interior murals that Bethany has done. She always does them with students as well. It's part of her community research. I think this one she did by herself. This one's on 31st and Parker. This was done a few years ago. They've since torn this building down. It's just right down. It was just right down on Cumming. This was a big project that used, or a bunch of our department students worked on too. This is probably like 5 years ago we did this. I helped her. We all did it. There was a bunch of us that came and worked. Bethany did the majority of it. She was pregnant with her first daughter and getting up on a lift in like 90-degree weather, 90+ degree weather to do this mural. This was on the side of the old Union building. So you can see lots. Indianapolis. Oh yeah, back when those silos were wrapped. They're not wrapped anymore. They took those down. So yeah, give you guys some ideas. Yeah, okay, what we're looking for. All right, so just a method to illustrate this. Let's do like let's do Omaha buildings. Let's do that one. I'm gonna search by large images. Although we're gonna trace it, so it's not that big of a deal. There's a reason I don't do murals. Don't usually have a ton of ideas for them. And you can ignore what are these? Oh, right. No. Sorry, I'm looking for like a good picture here. This building. What is this building? This is the SPECT building. You can ignore the context too. You don't have to do something that is aware of the site, that has something to do with the building. You can, those are always fun and resonate, but you can also just do something that's decorative, you know, it's geometric. If you're worried at all about your ability to render something, that's a good one. Trees are terrible. The trees are really annoying, actually. But yeah, so like this is the SPECT building, which has a completely cast iron facade, but this huge mural side. So you find a site, or you take the picture, you save it. I'm gonna actually, let's put it in teaching here. 100 assignments, examples. Do I have a mural? Oh, I do have a mural. Oh, look at that, guys. I do have a mural example in here. All right. Well, maybe we'll open that up real quick and take a look. Let's close Slack. We don't have to now. Assignments. What's this? Multifunctional furniture. All right. Oh yeah. I forgot. Oh shit! I totally forgot about this. Okay. Okay. Dang. Where is that picture? Is it in here? Oh, I wish I remembered where that picture was. I bet it's in my, honestly, it's probably in my downloads folder. Maybe not. I did clean out my downloads folder a while ago. No, yeah, my downloads folder only goes back to like November. Yeah, if I kept. What I'm worried about is that I didn't link the document, the image in there. Oh, I did. It's right there. Okay, I wonder. Yeah, let's open up the Photoshop document. Let's do that. That's a good idea. So you guys know where that is, right? That's just the Reinert right out here. Yeah. I really like that side. I think it's very interesting. That little courtyard. All right. I'm going to export this real quick so we can, well, you know what? I don't have to. We can just build on top of it. Okay, so in this example, I took this image. This is an image of some artwork that I have, or that I've done before. So that would be like my first design. And then maybe there's something else I want to incorporate in here. Photoshop, of course, is good for just images. We're not going to use you. It doesn't really matter. I can use any picture. All right. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna paste it in here. Ooh. Oh, my levels. That's why. Let's put design 2. Let's hide design 1. Okay. So this image is a little smaller than, well, that's not too bad. So you kind of think about it, like how do you want this to look in this space? I think I'm going to rotate it to kind of fit this space. And then because I'm working with 2 different planes here, we're going to edit this image. I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to grab my lasso selection and kind of, and this is a little messy, but I'm going to grab my lasso selection to sort of partition this out here. I would normally be a little more careful about this. But see, I'm just trying to make it match the plane, the side of the building there. Okay. So with this selected, you are going to have to do some destructive editing. I know if you've taken a class with me before, I harp on non-destructive editing, or so that you can make changes to it. But in this instance, we are going to have to do destructive editing. So I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to paste it again. Well, actually, do Command Shift V, and that will paste it back in place. Okay, and that pastes it as a new layer. We can hide that layer, and then we'll select that bottom layer. And we'll come through and grab this. Okay, and we will cut it. Command Shift V to paste it back in place. And then what we can do is we can use this part here Windows. Ooh. Actually, let's undo that. Let's do one square like here. Shift V, paste it back in place. Grab that bottom layer again, and we're going to grab just this little bit here. Okay. X, V, Shift, paste in place. And then we can hide that one. So this gives us our planes, but we need to distort it a little bit to make, especially this one, to make it really match those dimensions. Actually, one thing, now that I'm looking at this, I think there's a different way I want to do this. So we're going to undo all that. Okay, we're going to add it as a mask for that one, and then we're going to duplicate this layer. There it is. Numerous times. Okay, we can get rid of this mask. Oops. Layer mask. Layer mask. All right, that's good. On this one, we want to. On this one, then we're going to want to trace. So each of these, actually, let's just do them each as layer masks. Apologies, don't cut them out. Just do layer masks. Okay, so that's going to be a layer mask on that one. Grab this one, and then we'll do. Ooh, yikes. And then I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to make this one layer mask since it's one plane. That way I don't have to duplicate the layer again. All right. Okay, there we go. So now if we look at them all, we have them like this. Let's up our, but I do have a weird kind of angle or separation there. I think it's this one. So I'm going to, what are we going to do? Let's go up. So I'm going to make a selection right there. I want to paint inside that selection. So I have my layer mask selected. I made my selection. I'm going to grab my brush. And my paint is black. And I'm just going to come in, oops, actually white, and come in and paint that little strip.
I never get it right on the first try.
Hmm?
I never get
Yeah,
it
same. Okay, so this, I took a flat image and I have it on these planes. Now I need to distort the images. So I'm going to unlink all my masks. I'm going to grab my image. I'm going to turn on transform, and then I'm going to go to perspective. And then what you can do with this is kind of now stretch it. And then just make sure you pull it and kind of match how that is a little bit. You're just trying to match, like, really we have the lines of the building to match it. If you're doing something organic, like I am, it's going to be a lot more forgiving than if you're doing something that is geometric. Because if you do something that's geometric, you're really going to have to match it up really well. And that's going to be difficult. As you can see, I'm going to have some issues here. All right, I'll grab the next one. Perspective. Kind of see how that's a little funky. Grab it and kind of try to also I have a little lag going on here. Something you can do too is you can get that that skewing in there pretty good and hit enter, and then obviously it doesn't line up right, but you can try to line it up, and then if you need to, just open your transform again and just make that. It's already been skewed, and now I'm just scaling it up because now I need to try to match this right here. Which is giving me some fits because of how the flowers are. All right, well, we're going to come in and do some other editing right here to make that look like it matches. Okay, and then actually let's come down to that one. Let's go ahead and do it. We're going to go to skew. Skew is like perspective, but does let you mess with it just a little bit more. It's distorting quite a bit. So it's going to be a matter of just kind of playing around with it and trying to get them to line up. Okay, I'll mess with that here in a second. And then this one's not too bad. It's not too far off. So I'm just going to up that just a little bit. I think we're going to bring it in just a little. And there's some color issue there, but we can grab that and then grab your sample, your stamp, your clone stamp. Select a sampling area. Right here, and then just paint that in. Make sure you're painting on the image layer itself, so that way the mask, you're not worried about the mask or painting on the mask or anything like that. Okay, so the clone stamp is actually what I'm going to do down here too, to kind of match these up a little bit better. So this is just one method. It's really, really basic. I don't know if this is going to work out for me the way I want it to. No. Let's see. That's my brush tool. Here's my under here. Nope. Touch burn sponge. Oh, there it is. Your what do they call it? Spot healing brush. Sometimes this will help. I like to make it soft. Softer blends better. Means you can run it over that edge and see. Yeah, it's trying to guess at what I want. It's not too bad. That's not terrible. It's enough for what we're doing. They don't match great, but it's enough to illustrate it. This part here, you could take. Like take this, like copy it, paste it in place, move it down, and then merge that down. Oh, don't merge the mask. Let's do add mask to selection, mask it, and then let's unlink it. You know, just those like little finishing things that you're going to have to do. Don't do that. It's like I need to scale this down a little bit. Move it so it kind of matches there. And then let's save that, and then let's skew it just a little. Let's do a little bit of perspective shift on it. Okay. Let's up these so we're looking at them full. All right. This is you. Paint that out. Let's grab you and make you a little bigger again. Okay, so obviously there's no texture coming through, right, in this. A couple different ways we can address that. The first way to try is to play around with your blending modes. Multiply is pretty good. That lets that come through. Linear burn. Darker colors, okay. The multiply is perhaps better. The rest of these are going to be a little rough because they're not going to let the vibrancy of the mural design itself come through. Yikes. But it's worth kind of trying to like decide what looks good. Yeah, multiply I think is going to be best. So we'll set all these to multiply, and then what we'll do after that is you can set a hue saturation on top of this, on top of the stack. Bring up your saturation a little bit. We might want to isolate the wall from that though. Okay, do not recommend this method, but you could do this. You could merge all of these together. Notice it merged the image mask into it as well. So you got to be careful with that. Multiply. But this does get us to this point where we can kind of play around with our colors. Could add a vibrancy on top of this. Always target them. Ooh. Why does it look like it's not doing anything? It really doesn't feel like it's doing anything. Oh, there it is. I see it. So, does this kind of make sense? Like this method? This is a pretty basic method, right? So then in Illustrator, you can take that same method and apply each of the spaces as like a clipping group, just like we did with clipping groups are essentially what masks are. Let me make these thumbnails bigger. Yeah, it's not that much bigger. Let's go like 60. Okay. So I made a clipping group, which is just I made a path, and then I applied that path to some colors I had already laid out. You can see if I open up the clipping groups, you know, I just did a bunch of like random colors. Let's see. Oops. Okay, so I just did a bunch of colors, different shapes, and then traced that outline that I wanted to apply it to. It's just like the other thing, it's just a mask. You could also do that with, you know, I do have these colors that are coming off onto the ground. You can paint onto the ground, right? The thing to be aware of with that though, it's going to get walked on, so it always becomes like a matter of certain paints, right? So you should have notes in your mural designs that are like, okay, this area I would like something to be walked on, or I want to paint on the ground as well. So it needs like a high tread paint, or it needs paint that can be walked on. Notes like that. So it's sort of a combination of like the storyboard notes and the multifunction furniture notes. Just little details. I don't know. Is any of this not? Let's see. There we go. These are just. This is the same color group. I just started skewing it. It's the same. I made this one big grouping of different color blocks and then skewed it together. Okay. It's really kind of simple. As an example, oh, that's the one I want. Where are you? Oh, there we go. Okay. So real quick. So if I'm doing design 1 here, you can't. Gosh, there's so much you can do here. Let's think of like, what patterns do I have? I think I have some patterns built in here. Pattern options. Nope. Where's my patterns? Vonster patterns. I have no idea what these are. Large thumbnail view. Yeah, those are kind of gross. You could make some patterns, you could use patterns, you could do all kinds of different stuff. Is there panel options? No, okay. Oh man, these are all just like terrible. Do we have some basic? I should just leave that open. I don't know why I keep closing it. Yeah, we can do basic lines. Textures. All right, let's do something with this. Okay, so with this one, let's turn my image back on. So I'm just gonna make like a big rectangle, and then I'm gonna fill it with one of these patterns. And let's do my pattern options here real quick. Mezzotine dot. Oh, you're not gonna let me edit it. There we go. Size tile to art. Copies 5x5. Nope. 5x5. More spacing in there. I wonder if it's going to give me do brick rows. Nope. Hex. Nope. Grid. Okay, so we could do something like so make a shape that you want to use. Now I see what you're doing. Oh, these are fun. I actually do like this. Okay, so I'm gonna make a small version of this and kind of reapply it. So every time you scale it, reapply it. But once that's done, you can actually expand the pattern. And what this will do is it'll make it as a fill. And so now I should be able to just make them. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I kept it. Can I not? It's to keep it as a group. I can't remember how to do this. Sorry, there's a way to do this to make it Oh, yeah. Okay, let's rasterize it. Oh, this is what we should do. So rasterize it, then image trace it. Yeah, this is what I want. Okay, image trace it. Bring up your image trace options. And then what we want to do is ignore white. So it ignores all the white and just turns this into black. So this is going to make all of these shapes. Okay. We're going to do just fills. We're not going to do strokes. Snap curves to lines. Actually, this is pretty good. Okay, and then expand that. So now we have vectors that we can use. And then just scale those vectors up. All right. All right, and then inside this fill, we could do something kind of fun like, oh, you could, what could we do? I'm trying to think of an easy thing to do here. We could add it's all black right now, you could add a gradient to this. So you could bring up your different gradients. We could let's do gems and jewels. No, let's not do gems and jewels. Let's do system colors. No, those are just swatches, not gradients. Color harmonies. That's kind of fun. So then each of these, they have these different gradients being applied to them, right? But then you can, like, I'm gonna take my pen tool. Let me lock that real quick. I'm going to take my pen tool and quickly outline this shape. Okay, and then you take that path and apply it to that group. Select both of those. Come on. Oh, I locked it. Make sure the path is on top, and then come to Object and do Clipping Mask, Make. And that will snap it to that. Now they're not really skewed up against the edge of that or anything. It's not like it's adjusted. Well, it's not, but it kind of looks like it is a little. You can always come into that path, grab like your direct selection tool and like fix that path a bit if you need to. All right, and it just shows. This is a little bit more versatile than Photoshop. Although Photoshop you can just play with your mask a bit. But you see, like, this is one way you could handle this. We could change this back to, like, maybe I want them all to be one color. You can also change your frequencies. Like, we could do, let me see. There's a way to make a pattern. This is kind of getting into some Illustrator stuff real quick. Oh no, do I do that all in Photoshop when I do that? I do. That's all Photoshop now that I'm thinking about it. There's a content fill in Photoshop that would let you make your own patterns. That's really, really effective. I can't think of how to do that in Illustrator right now. Oops. Go back to orange. Yeah, so I mean, you can play around with this quite a bit. Maybe edit one of those, like if we do another cube of these, just to be able to look at it. So this is pretty thick. Maybe we can make a copy of it, or maybe you can make your own. Yeah, this is not doing it procedurally. Do we have like a pattern?
If you go to edit fill, is content aware?
In Photoshop, yeah, but not in.
It should be. Just.
Maybe it could be what I have selected. Let me see. I know in Photoshop that's how it works.
It used to be in Illustrator.
It's
Then
an
I can never
object.
in Photoshop.
Let me type it in fill. Oops. Solar text, fill stroke, same fill color. No, yeah, I know what you're talking. Like the fill content aware
Yeah.
lets you
They
edit.
used to have one in Illustrator too.
I've never seen content-aware stuff in Illustrator, but maybe. Notice it's bugging out right now. Yeah, Jesus. Ugh. Okay. You can make your own, like, sometimes there are distort, transform. We can do stuff with distort and transform to kind of add some things in there. I would have to look up a tutorial on procedural patterns for Illustrator. It's been so long since I've done this. Anyway, yeah, so you can edit, bring up panel options, and you can edit this a little bit. You bring up your panel options by clicking on this. You can play around with the type of tile and everything that it is. The biggest issue is going to be like size tile to art. Size tile. It's just going to be like if you want to edit this pattern itself, you're going to have to come in and make a couple different copies. And I'm just deleting bits and pieces here. Actually, we should do that before we. Let's hit let's undo everything we just did. Okay, so can we copy this? Nope. It's editing the pattern. Gosh, now I don't remember how to duplicate a pattern. Let's find out. Let's ask Google. But anyway, is this enough to get you guys started? There's different methods you can use. They're pretty much the same in both. It just depends on what you want to do. If you are going to do something more geometric, I would recommend using Illustrator because it gives you more control over stuff. Or if you want to do something that's a little cleaner looking, like from one of the examples that droopy ice cream look. Right? I don't remember where that was. It was up here maybe, or I'm not connected to the internet. Oh my. Hello. Okay, now we are. But say I was gonna make this as a mural, right? You would want to probably try to build this in Illustrator as your example. I would do that. I would do it in Illustrator. Something like this I would do in Illustrator. But yeah, here's the drippy ice cream, right? This is definitely something to do in Illustrator. Not try to do this in Photoshop. It'll just be easier and cleaner. Okay, so it's your tools. Or you do everything by hand. The big thing is that I need to be able to see the space, okay, that it's going to be in. So don't just give me an image and say this is what my mural is going to be. It's like, okay, well I don't know how that's going to look in the space, right? Approach this project as if you're trying to pitch ideas for murals. You're saying this would look really cool here. Let's do this, right? Etc. Just like the other ones, you're pitching your ideas. I'm your art director. I'm in charge of the money. So if you want to do this project, you've got to convince me that it's worthwhile. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop.